they'll never admit it. Not in daylight, not in words, not even to their closest friends over wine and confessions. But almost every woman has this fantasy, a hidden desire that has nothing to do with candlelight or compliments, and everything to do with being taken not forcefully, not crying, but with unspoken certainty. It's the fantasy she keeps locked behind her eyes, the one that surfaces only when she feels safe enough to surrender to a man who doesn't beg, doesn't explain, and doesn't ask for permission. With every move, no one talks about it because it's taboo, it's raw, and it's real. This video is going to pull back the curtain. We're discovering the psychological and sexual roots of the #1 female fantasy that's been buried under decades of noise. You'll learn how to recognize it, how to trigger it without saying a word, and how to become the man who doesn't chase but gets chased by her imagination. Most men will never know this, but you're not most men. Oh, and before we continue, I've got something special for you, a free ebook, The Female Mind Control Handbook. It reveals the hidden secrets to making any woman crave you. Grab it now. Link in the description or pinned comment. Let's begin. 1. The fantasy of being taken without a word, what she secretly craves but will never admit. There's a fantasy women carry deep inside. It's not the flowers, it's not the romantic candlelit dinner, it's not even the steamy scene from her favorite movie. It's darker, older, and far more primal. Most men will never trigger it. Why? Because they're too polite, too predictable, and too busy following a script they didn't even write. But you, if you learn to unlock this, she'll look at you differently. She won't even know why, but her body will respond before her mind catches up. So what is this fantasy? Let's peel back the layers. She dreams of being taken completely, utterly, without hesitation, not in a cruel or forceful way. No, this isn't about violence, it's not about fear, it's about certainty. The fantasy lives in the moment when a man doesn't ask, he knows, he doesn't negotiate, he leads, he doesn't overthink, he acts. That one instant where she's not in control but she's never felt safer, where he pulls her in slowly but without doubt, where his energy says you're mine, and her body replies finally. Let that sink in for a second. She doesn't want to make all the decisions, she doesn't want to explain what she needs, she doesn't want to teach you how to touch her soul, she wants to surrender, but only to a man who can handle it. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. She'll never say this out loud because she's been taught not to, because she's afraid it'll make her look weak. The modern world tells her to be in charge, in control, empowered every second. But in the deepest part of her where the fantasy lives, she wants to feel your control without you ever raising your voice. She wants to feel your presence before you even speak. She wants your hands to know where to go. She wants your energy to say, I see through you before you've even touched her. This is the fantasy most men never tap into because it requires something rare, silent dominance. The kind that doesn't flex, doesn't brag, and doesn't beg. You want to trigger this fantasy. You don't need more muscles, you don't need cheesy lines, you don't need money or status. You need to understand polarity. The masculine leads and the feminine responds, not because she's lesser, but because it's nature. She's been leading all day at work, online, and in social circles. She doesn't want to lead in your presence, she wants to melt, but you have to give her a reason to. Let me tell you a story. There was a man, a quiet one. He didn't talk much, didn't smile often, but when he entered the room, women noticed, not because he was the loudest, but because he had that stillness, the kind that says, I know who I am, and I know what I want. One night, he's sitting across from a woman, a friend of a friend. She's used to attention, used to control, used to men leaning in trying too hard. But he didn't chase, he watched, listened. Every time she spoke, he paused before answering, like he was weighing her words, tasting them. And when the moment was right, he leaned in and said one sentence, "You talk like you want to be interrupted." She froze, not because she was offended, but because in that moment, someone saw through the act. He didn't need to say anything else. She leaned closer, Her voice got softer, her body shifted. She didn't even notice her knees brushing his that night. She didn't want a date. She didn't want sweet words. She didn't want permission. She wanted to feel what she couldn't control, and she did. That's the fantasy, to be undone by a man who knows exactly what he's doing. Now here's how you trigger it instantly, without being creepy or fake. Eye contact that holds, not chases. Most men break eye contact too soon, or stare too long, desperate to prove confidence. You hold it calm, unapologetic, like you've already seen her. Voice that slows down the room. Speak slower than you think. Use pauses. Silence is a weapon when used with intention. It draws her in. Let her fill the space. Her imagination will do more than your words ever could. Touch that leads, then withdraws. A brush of your hand, then nothing. A moment of closeness, then distance. This is tension, and tension builds desire faster than any compliment. Presence that doesn't fidget. Stillness is magnetic. Most men can't sit still without checking their phone, adjusting their shirt, or looking away. You, however, are grounded, unmoved like a mountain. Words that cut past her persona. She'll come with a script. Be playful, tease, test you. But when you say something that hits her core, she feels it. Not some pickup line, a truth. Something like, you hide behind being in control. I wonder who you are when you're not. That right there, that's gasoline. She may laugh, she may deny it, but she'll remember, because deep down she's been waiting for a man who can pull the fantasy out of her without even naming it. And here's where it gets wild. Once you trigger this fantasy, she will chase you, not because she's desperate, but because she wants that feeling again. The moment where her body said yes before her brain even caught up. That's not something she gets every day. In fact, most women will go their entire lives without feeling it once. So when you're the man who gives her that, she won't forget you. She won't try to figure you out. She'll just feel drawn, haunted, hooked. And the best part, you don't have to change who you are. You just have to become more of it. Less talk, more presence, less seeking, more seeing, less proving, more knowing. That's how you live in her fantasy without ever asking to be invited. Because deep down, every woman has that one scene in her head. The one she's never said out loud. The one she hides under humor, ambition, and independence. And when you awaken it, she'll stop pretending. She'll stop performing. She'll melt into you like she's finally home, and she'll never even know why. Now you know you've just walked through a secret corridor inside the female mind, a place most men don't even know exists. And if you were paying attention, you didn't just hear her fantasy, you felt it. It's not about being louder. It's not about being prettier. It's not about being perfect. It's about present stillness, control without words, power without noise. Most men will go their whole lives chasing women with words. You're about to be the man she follows silently because you touch something deeper than her skin. So if this opened your eyes, imagine what else you've never been told. The next step, join the members-only room, where we go beyond the surface, uncensored psychology, darker truths, and tools to trigger attraction, so deep she won't know why she's obsessed. And as a gift, I'll send you a free ebook that breaks down the secret behaviors of high-desire women and exactly how to awaken the fantasy she's never spoken out loud. What? Link below. But remember, this knowledge isn't for everyone. It's for the few who can handle it. And now you know why she couldn't stop thinking about you. Not anymore. See you inside. Female desire is a topic often clouded by myths, misconceptions, and societal conditioning. Unlike the common belief that men's and women's desires operate on the same wavelength, the truth is far more intricate. Female desire is fluid, influenced by biological, psychological, and emotional factors that intertwine in complex ways. While society often tries to present a singular narrative about what women find attractive or desirable, the reality is much deeper and more layered than men realize. Female attraction and arousal are not always directly linked, and a woman's emotional state, life experiences, and subconscious conditioning all play a role in shaping her desires. What women want and what women respond to are often two different things, and understanding this distinction is crucial. One of the most misunderstood aspects of female desire is that it is not solely dependent on physical attraction. While physical appearance can be a factor, it is not the primary driver of long-term attraction and arousal. Women are deeply affected by emotional stimulation, mental connection, and the energy a man brings into a situation. A confident, self-assured man who exudes a sense of purpose and direction in life can often be more attractive than someone who is simply physically appealing but lacks depth or ambition. Women are drawn to a man's overall presence, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, and the way he engages with the world around him. A significant element of female desire is the presence of unpredictability and mystery. Women are naturally wired to be drawn to what is elusive, to what keeps their minds engaged and their emotions activated. When everything about a man is predictable, when his every move is understood and expected, the element of excitement begins to fade. The thrill of anticipation, the uncertainty of what comes next, and the sense of adventure all contribute to female arousal. This is why men who are able to maintain a sense of mystery, who are not overly available or eager to please at every moment, often find themselves desired more than those who are always accessible and accommodating. Emotional stimulation is another crucial aspect of female desire. Women are often more attracted to how a man makes them feel, rather than just how he looks. Emotional highs and lows, the unpredictability of emotions, and the ability to evoke a sense of longing all play into attraction. This is why stories, romantic dramas, and novels that stir deep emotions resonate so strongly with women. They crave experiences that allow them to feel deeply, whether it be through excitement, challenge, or even moments of vulnerability. A man who can engage a woman on an emotional level, who understands the importance of emotional depth, will always be more attractive than one who relies purely on superficial attributes. Power dynamics and social hierarchy also play a critical role in female attraction. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude dominance, not in an aggressive or controlling way, but in a way that signals leadership and confidence. A man who is self-assured, who commands respect in his environment, and who possesses a strong sense of self-worth is inherently more attractive. This is why high-status men, whether in business, entertainment, or social circles, often have no shortage of female attention. Status in this context is not just about money or fame, but about how a man positions himself in the world. Does he lead or follow? Does he command attention when he enters a room? Does he move through life with a sense of purpose and direction? These are the qualities that create an unconscious pull of desire in women. Another overlooked factor is the power of challenge and resistance. Women do not respond well to men who are too eager to please or who lack their own sense of boundaries and standards. Men who place women on a pedestal, who are constantly available and always trying to seek validation, often find themselves taken for granted. On the other hand, a man who has his own set of standards, who is not afraid to walk away, and who does not seek approval at every turn, creates an entirely different dynamic. The power of the push and pull, the subtle resistance to being completely won over too easily, generates attraction on a subconscious level. Women desire men who are desirable to others, men who do not need external validation to feel confident in themselves. Communication style is another key element in the equation of female desire. A man who knows how to communicate in a way that is both assertive and engaging will always be more attractive than someone who lacks conversational depth. Women are drawn to men who can tell stories, who can engage them in a way that makes them feel seen and understood. The ability to listen actively, to create tension and intrigue in conversation, and to navigate social interactions with ease is a highly underrated trait. Many men mistakenly believe that attraction is solely about looks or financial success, when in reality, it often comes down to how a man makes a woman feel in his presence. The energy he brings into an interaction, the confidence he exudes, and the way he communicates all contribute to attraction. Social proof and pre-selection also play a crucial role in female desire. Women are naturally more attracted to men who are desired by other women. This is an evolutionary trait rooted in survival and security. If other women find a man attractive, it signals that he possesses qualities that are valuable and desirable. This is why men who are in relationships or who are perceived as high status often receive more attention from women than those who appear to be alone and undesirable. Women's attraction is often influenced by what others perceive as valuable, and social proof is a powerful force in determining desirability. Another crucial but often overlooked aspect of female desire is the role of delayed gratification. Women do not respond well to instant availability or immediate gratification. They are naturally drawn to situations where there is an element of effort required, where attraction is built over time. When something is too easy, it loses its perceived value. This is why relationships that are formed too quickly, without any sense of challenge or anticipation, often fizzle out just as fast. Women crave the feeling of working towards something, of earning a man's attention and affection, rather than having it handed to them on a silver platter. One of the biggest mistakes men make when it comes to female desire is assuming that logic and rationality play the same role in attraction for women as they do for men. Male attraction is often straightforward, visually driven, and primarily based on physical appearance. Female attraction, on the other hand, is complex, emotional, and often unpredictable. A woman's desire can shift based on her mood, her environment, and even the way a man carries himself on a particular day. This is why attraction cannot be forced or manufactured. It must be cultivated through a deep understanding of the emotional and psychological triggers that drive female desire. The subconscious nature of female desire also means that women are not always fully aware of why they are attracted to certain men. While they may articulate their preferences in a logical manner, their actual attraction is often dictated by deeper psychological forces. A woman may claim she wants a man who is kind, caring, and always available, yet she finds herself irresistibly drawn to men who exude mystery, confidence, and a sense of challenge. This contradiction is not a sign of dishonesty, but rather an indication of the layered nature of female attraction. What women say they want and what they actually respond to are often two different things, and understanding this distinction is key to navigating attraction successfully. Ultimately, female desire is a multifaceted phenomenon that cannot be reduced to simple formulas or rigid rules. It is a dynamic, ever-evolving interplay of emotions, psychology, and biology. The key to understanding female desire lies in recognizing that it is not static, that it is influenced by countless factors, and that it requires a deep level of awareness and emotional intelligence to navigate effectively. Women do not respond to surface-level tactics or forced attempts at attraction. They respond to men who embody a natural, effortless sense of confidence, mystery, and emotional depth. Attraction is not about tricks or strategies. It is about becoming the kind of man who naturally evokes desire through his presence, his mindset, and his approach to life. In a world obsessed with surface-level attraction, few dare to explore the deeper truths of desire. We chase illusions, believe in myths, and assume that what is obvious is also what is true. But wisdom teaches us otherwise. The Stoics understood that human nature is complex, unpredictable, and often contrary to what we expect. Female desire is no different. It is not dictated by fleeting trends or shallow assumptions, but by forces both seen and unseen, biological, psychological, and emotional. To understand it, you must rise above common distractions, discard wishful thinking, and look at reality with clear, unclouded eyes. Today, I will share with you 5 secrets of female desire, truths that most people ignore, misunderstand, or fear to acknowledge, not because they are unknowable, but because they demand a level of awareness and discipline few are willing to cultivate. If you wish to master the art of attraction, you must first master yourself. Women's desire operates on an emotional level, not a purely logical or transactional one. While men may often be drawn to visual stimuli and direct signals, female attraction is rooted in the way a man makes her feel in his presence. A man could have wealth, looks and status, but if he does not evoke an emotional response, his appeal remains shallow. Women do not choose attraction the way they might choose a meal from a menu. It happens subconsciously, shaped by emotions, energy, and the way a man interacts with the world. The essence of desire is tied to the experiences a man creates. A woman may not remember every word a man says, but she will never forget the way he made her feel in key moments. If he can spark excitement, intrigue, or even a sense of emotional challenge, he becomes embedded in her mind in a way that logic cannot override. This is why many women find themselves drawn to men who are unpredictable, charismatic, or even slightly elusive, because these qualities engage their emotions on a deeper level. Attraction is not about a checklist of traits, but about an emotional journey. A man who provides emotional stimulation through humor, confidence, presence, or even mystery will always be more attractive than one who simply ticks all the conventional boxes. A woman's desire fluctuates based on mood, environment, and the emotional connection she feels in the moment. This is why attraction can seem inconsistent or irrational from a logical perspective. It is not about who a man is on paper, but about how his presence shifts a woman's internal state, activating emotions that she cannot easily ignore or explain. Desire thrives in the unknown, in the spaces where certainty has not yet taken hold. When everything about a man is predictable, when his actions are easily anticipated, attraction begins to fade. The mind craves novelty, excitement, and the feeling of earning something rather than being handed it without effort. This is why men who reveal too much too soon, who are always available, or who never introduce any sense of challenge, often find themselves taken for granted. The absence of uncertainty makes interactions feel routine, and routine is the enemy of passion. Women are drawn to men who maintain an air of unpredictability, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that keeps them mentally and emotionally engaged. The chase, the gradual unfolding of a man's character, and the challenge of deciphering his intentions create an addictive cycle of curiosity and desire. When a man does not immediately reveal everything about himself, when he is selective with his time and attention, he signals that he is valuable. His time must be earned. His presence is not guaranteed, and this scarcity increases his perceived worth. A man who presents some level of challenge forces a woman to invest emotionally. If something is easily acquired, it is rarely valued. This is why men who set standards, who do not give away their affection too freely, and who expect something in return for their energy, are often seen as more attractive. They create a dynamic where a woman must participate in the process of attraction, rather than passively receiving attention. The tension of not knowing what will happen next, the excitement of a man who cannot be fully figured out, and the thrill of working towards something fuel desire in a way that mere availability never can. Attraction is rarely dictated by physical appearance alone. While looks may catch initial attention, they do not sustain desire in the long run. A man's energy, mindset, and self-assurance shape how he is perceived far more than his physical features. Confidence is magnetic because it signals certainty, security, and an unshakable belief in oneself. Women are naturally drawn to men who move through the world with purpose, who do not second-guess themselves, and who exude a quiet but undeniable sense of control. Presence is the ability to command attention without demanding it. It is the way a man enters a room, the way he carries himself, and the way he interacts with those around him. A man who is fully engaged in the moment, who listens intently and who speaks with conviction, is far more attractive than someone who is physically appealing but unsure of himself. Women respond to a man who projects strength, not through arrogance or dominance, but through certainty and a deep-rooted sense of who he is. Mindset plays a crucial role in desirability. A man who sees himself as valuable, who does not seek validation, and who operates from a place of abundance rather than neediness, naturally attracts others. When a man's actions communicate that he does not require approval to feel complete, he becomes more desirable. His energy becomes one of confidence rather than desperation, of leadership rather than passivity. Women sense this on a deep instinctual level, and they respond not to what a man has, but to how he carries himself. A man who is sure of his worth, who moves with conviction, and who embodies quiet confidence will always stand out in ways that go beyond physical appearance. Desire is rarely an individual choice. It is shaped by social cues, external validation, and perceived value. Women are naturally drawn to men who are already desired by others because attraction is often influenced by social proof. When a man is surrounded by other women who find him appealing, it signals that he possesses qualities that are valuable. This is not a conscious calculation, but an instinctual response rooted in human psychology. If others see him as desirable, he must have traits worth wanting. Social proof works because it removes doubt and reinforces status. A man who is admired, respected, or pursued by other women automatically appears more attractive. This is why men who are in relationships or who have a history of dating high-value women tend to receive more attention. It is not necessarily about exclusivity, but about the validation that comes from being sought after. When a man is in demand, it creates an unspoken message that he holds qualities that others recognize as rare and valuable. Perceived value also plays a critical role in attraction. A man who carries himself as if he is valuable, who does not chase or seek approval, naturally draws others in. Women subconsciously gauge a man's worth based on how he is treated by others, how he navigates social interactions, and how effortlessly he commands attention. The more he is desired, the more his value increases in the eyes of those who observe him. This is why status, influence, and social validation have always been powerful drivers of attraction. The desire of others acts as a silent endorsement, amplifying a man's appeal in ways that words or actions alone cannot replicate.